Hello to everyone. It's very nice to be here. So my name is Ronnie and I come from Shiva Medical Center in Israel. I'm very happy to be here. First of all, I want to say big thanks to everyone. Most important thanks is for Professor Doron Gottlieb, he's the one with the middle. And the other members standing in the picture are families from a conference we held 2 weeks ago. We are very fortunate to have a lot of beautiful families that cooperate with us, and the conference was a big success. This is also a new logo that's designed for 22q in Israel. Also a big thanks for Ruben and Rachel Gur from Children's Hospital Philadelphia and Penn University that were very kind, and we had a cooperation together on this project. So I'm going to talk today about the importance of cognition in everyday functioning. You heard about it all day, but I just briefly want to present it because it's important in the light of the result of this study. Also want to show you the computerized neurocognitive battery that was developed by Ruben Gur. So most individuals with 22q, as you must know, cope with learning disabilities, and that makes cognition a big part of every research, study, and treatment. And the main reason for that is in order to have a successful real-world functioning, you must have also the ability to plan, to organize, solve complex problems. And in order to do so, you must have a working memory, inhibition, and processing speed that are efficient enough. Also, another thing that makes cognition more complex is that many times the symptoms of cognitive deficits are also the symptoms of the psychiatric disorder. Of course, in ADHD, but also, as you can see, in depression and anxiety, the global deficits in attention, memory, and speed of processing also can affect everyday functioning. And probably you are well aware that the cognitive deficits also shown in schizophrenia. So on the word of Wendy Cates, cognitive deficit in psychosis in 22q, also traits that are pre-existing and raise the risk for psychosis, and associated with the onset of psychotic symptoms. So if all these studies are showing that there are a big percentage of learning disability, and it's all connected to real-world functioning and psychiatric disorder, the main recommendation is to have frequent neurocognitive evaluation in 22q. But the big question is, how can we do it? Because if we want to run an IQ test, you need to find a trained psychologist. It takes several hours, perhaps several meetings. And just between you and me, it also costs a lot of money. And you cannot do it in every several months. You cannot administer an IQ test. Another limitation of the previous study that they didn't use a comprehensive computerized battery that is adapted for 22q. So the main aim is to find an early intervention and an identification tool that can help us do all the things. And we're looking on neurocognitive evaluation. It should be reliable, thorough, comprehensive, efficient, and you want to use it periodically and maybe frequent if you see perhaps any deterioration. And you cannot do it with an IQ test. So this is the Penn computerized neurocognitive battery. It was developed in Penn by Ruben Gur. It was previously used for schizophrenia study and was adapted for the use in 22q. The main thing, because it's computerized, it's efficient enough, so it takes about an hour, and it can be administered by trained staff. It doesn't have to be a trained psychologist. And we compare the scores to chronological age group. There are 5 domains. Each of the domains consists of 2 to 3 tasks. There is the motor praxis speed. It's written in Hebrew because we translate it into Hebrew. The motor praxis speed, executive function, there is the attention and the working memory, for example, tasks. There is the episodic memory, which contains 3 different memory tasks: word, faces, and visual recall. The complex cognition, of course, and social cognition, which is a major part in schizophrenia research, as you may know. So in the end, we get the result for each of the tasks. We can get the reaction time and the accuracy for each task. So if you want to get example, so even if you get the score, you can get also a clinical recommendation. This is a few recommendations that I gathered together. For example, if you see that there are problems in following new rules, it's one of the tasks in the executive function domain, we can recommend the teacher to ensure frequent repetition and reinforcement of information. In this area, there is a global deficit in the social cognition domain. We recommend the main caregiver and the teacher to escort the individual in interpersonal relationship and complex situation. This is just a few results, a few recommendations. So in the end, we can get also a score for each of the domain, and we also can get the general neurocognitive performance, which is the average of everything combined together. And we were wondering in this study, perhaps we can use it similar as an IQ test. Is it equivalent to the score of full-scale IQ? So we combine our sample with PEN. We had more than 350 individual, age range from 8 to 52. And the average full-scale IQ, which is from the intelligence scale, was about 77. And in the GNP, which is the global score from the computerized battery, it was about 10 points higher. But if we can see here on the line, on the horizontal line, this is the score from the GNP, from the battery, and it correlates with the full-scale IQ. So you can see here that IQ and CNB can be an proximal significant correlation between the two scores. So in the end, we got a reliable, thorough, comprehensive, and efficient battery that we can use, and perhaps we can use it in 22q instead of an IQ test. It doesn't mean you don't have to take an IQ test. It's very important to see a trained psychologist, but it's a different way to follow neurocognitive abilities in our children. So CNB can assess officially neurocognitive performance, and it also can obtain a reliable proxy of general intelligence. Just another quick thing, I don't know if I have the time, but okay. So we also followed the subthreshold psychotic symptoms. This is symptoms that can, in the end, lead to schizophrenia. So this is a part of the interview that we used. It's called the SIPS. We are looking on positive symptoms and negative symptoms. And we were able to find with the neurocognitive battery that there is an adjusted probability for psychosis by the scores in the GNP, executive function, and social cognition. Another finding, real quick, we followed our patient for about a year and a half, and we were able to find that the GNP, that score from the battery, was a predictor for negative subthreshold psychotic symptoms, and it also was it made a good, significant evaluation. So we were able to see that individual under psychiatric medication performed better over time. So in the end, CNB is a potentially useful tool, and we can use it also to identify cognitive deficit that's associated with psychosis disorder. So thank you very much.